Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Eddie Marcus here again, one that has spoken to you about love, the one who has spoken to you about a new mission, the one who has spoken to you about something we've called rebirth. Some people call it born again. And I find it a moment in time when such a pursuit as that is so necessary. And I'm so glad to be in front of this. And I want to thank you so very much for spending some time with it. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what I'm basically trying to say is this. There was a time that America was considered the new world. The new world. Can you imagine? All of the stuff that had been going on around the world, all of a sudden, it was found that there is a place, perhaps, where something else is going on that we have no knowledge of. So let's venture out. And we ran across something that proved that we were accurate. There was something else out here. We call it a new world. It was inhabited by people who were receptive, come on amongst us, and were friendly, willing to laugh and be partners and have a good time, work together, share together. At least that's the way the records indicate. But like all things, something always will rise up. You know, you talk about you can take somebody out of the country, but can you take the country out of the people? Somebody say you might be running from persecution, but if you go to a new place and try to establish something, will persecution be part of that which you will establish, whether you know it or not? Well, if it's a part of you, chances are it won't leave just like that. Something has to happen to eradicate it. Sometimes I might want to call it being born again. But here we see the promised land. It reminds you of the promised land that Moses and his folks were talking about. Well, it didn't go any place. You know that story, right? Didn't go any place. Somebody called it trying to put some geography on it. But the reality was that it didn't go any place wherever it is. So anywhere that's new is the geography for the foundation of a new world. And so where we have here the foundation for a new world. Now, when you go to a new place and people welcome you into their community, they open the doors for you and they share with you, doesn't it make you feel good? Doesn't it make you feel like you're somebody special? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I took a few notes because I want to make sure that there's a few things that I cover with you. Well, when you have people who are coming, some of them are looking for a better way of life. Some of them are, as some people might say, I think I heard a candidate for public office one time say they were criminals. Well, even criminals look for a better way of life, not necessarily to criminalize, but a better way of life. But they're coming. And so this is what we call that melting pot. The United States of America, 1776, of when we said that the Constitution of the United States was a symbol for this, what we call this new nation, this nation on a hill. It's new, and all others could see what wonderfulness this nation, by their evidence, can prove that the rest of the world could be a city on a hill. 200 plus years, the promised land, 200 plus years. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at it, what does it say? What does it really say? It is now time for the judgment. A new nation, over 200 years. What does it say? Now it's time for the judgment. And I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, every human Every human, not just in America, but all over the earth, but I'll bring it back to America, has the right of choice. Heaven, you know what you think about when you say heaven, or hell. You know what you think about when you think of hell. Here's the key of our creation. This is what this is all about. For me, America is on the path to hell. You've heard me say that before. Not intentionally. We as brothers and sisters are not intentionally racing ourselves to hell, but we're doing it. And why are we doing it? We're doing it because we lack the truth. We are riding on the bandwagon of deception. So I propose to you, my brothers and sisters, that we have a rebirth, that we raise up from the damnation given us and received by us, and rather create by us, for us, a newness, released from the realm of invisibility, believing in feasibility, and daring to stand that what was not now has become. Do you feel me, ladies and gentlemen? What I see right now is that we need to conquer one of the most major diseases that we have, and that disease is sickness and pain and suffering. Sickness that comes from that which takes our lives. You know what I'm talking about. MS, cancer, dementia, Alzheimer, all of that stuff, ladies and gentlemen. It is mastering us. The coronavirus mastering us. We're trying to get this medicine together, this vaccine together, this booster together, and every time we do, something else happens, but we're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it. Well, see, this is how we have to work on society. We have to work on that which causes us pain. We have to work on that which causes us suffering. And the evidence of it is, if we have it in our bodies, if we got cancer and we don't get that taken care of, the body gonna say, hey, buddy, I got to go. Bye-bye. And then the body's gone. So that will same thing happen to a society. If we don't deal with it the same way we're dealing with these viruses, we must deal with the cancers that take our lives physically, and we must deal with the cancers that take our lives as a nation, as a race of people. And it's simple. So I propose that we consider adding to the medical profession here in the United States at least 1 million new medical professionals in every area of medicine, from research to making sure that the bathrooms are clean when the patients come in. We want to make sure that sickness says we got to get out of America because they ain't having it. I want to make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that this happens because I have been sick. I probably am. You probably are. And if you aren't, you know somebody that is. And you know everybody want to stay well. So let's focus on that. If you want it, stand up for it. It ain't going to go away. Right now, we're not doing anything like that. You haven't heard any information like that. You have heard that it's too costly. We can't continue to pursue cancer treatments and cures. Why? Because the money ain't there. It ain't never stopped you from building guns. It has never stopped you from building carriers. It has never stopped you from building planes. It has never stopped you from building bullets. Why? Because you are living on a different plane. You're living on a plane that will guide you where I said we need to wake up from and cause a revelation in our lives by creating not hell, but that which is heaven. And once again, just so you don't get confused, When I speak of heaven, and I want you to understand me quite well, I'm speaking of we the people experiencing peace in our lives. Not some of us, but all of us. All the time. As much as we possibly can. And if anything gets in there called the conflict, get it straightened out quick. I'm talking about prosperity in our lives. In other words, we are not destitute. We're not suffering from this or that. Why? Because the life that we live is uplifting. It's participating. It's giving. It's receiving. Prosperity in our lives. This is what I'm about, ladies and gentlemen. What am I about? I'm about that spirit that lives in me that puts me here before you and tell you that there is a way of life that we're missing. That the power to change it can be you. And it doesn't have to be hell. It can be heaven. I'm talking about living, my friend, where you have joy in your life, freedom in your life. Freedom. Oh, man, you got an idea what it means to be free? For some of you, when you were at home and you grew up, everything was fine. But there came a time you just wanted to be free. You love mom and daddy, but you needed their philosophy. You needed their guidance no longer. You wanted to get out on your own. Well, I'm telling you something, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to leave home, but don't go crazy. If you got the good stuff, if you got the right stuff, you okay. So we want our dreams to come true. This, my friends, is when I'm talking about heaven. I'm talking about your needs, your wants, and your desires being met at your leisure. I'm talking about never having to suffer from food, clothing, shelter, education, unlimited and unrestricted, health care from the womb to the tomb. And how do you guarantee that? By everybody got a blessing, a gift, a talent that allows them to participate at the proper moment in time in the creative process by engaging your hands. That those things that have been determined by the people, essential for your pleasure or your survival, are there in abundance, that no one would like anything, and it's there because all of you participated in it, and it exists because all of you, my friends, are owners of it to access it when you desire. No money involved, no debt involved, no fees involved. You don't owe anybody anything. All you got is your life to give. And that's what they got to give, and you give it. And everybody receives it. And you have created this heaven instead of this hell. Now, I'm just giving you a little taste of it today. But I'm going to, if I have the opportunity to share it with you every phase of a brand new world so that you can understand how simple it is. And all of the stuff that seems to be so complicated is designed that way to make you stay blind and rely on those professionals that they have trained to guide